She was 72 years old, newly married, and dead within a week. Her drowning looked like an accident until investigators found her journal. In it, she wrote one chilling line: "If anything happens to me, don't trust either of them." But when the FBI dug deeper, they uncovered a web of betrayal, forged evidence, and a woman no one even knew existed. And what they found next changed everything. Subscribe to this channel now to see how this chilling true crime story ends. Elaine Whitmore wasn't just wealthy, she was untouchable. At 72, she still carried herself like she was 40. Designer clothes, diamond rings, a voice that commanded respect. She had buried 2 husbands, and each time she inherited more. By the time she met Daniel Cole, she was worth over $40 million. Daniel was everything Elaine wasn't. Young, 36, a personal trainer from Tampa. He didn't have money, but he had charm. People whispered, "Why him?" But Elaine told her friends she had never been happier. They got married in Palm Beach in a small private ceremony. Elaine wore a champagne-colored gown. Daniel wore a tuxedo 2 sizes too tight. Within days, they flew to Miami for a honeymoon on the water. Elaine loved boats. Daniel promised he'd rent the best yacht money could buy. It was supposed to be the start of a new life. Instead, it became the end. On the 7th day, a call came through the Coast Guard's radio. A man's voice. Panicked. "My wife, she's not breathing. Please, send help." When rescue crews arrived, they found Daniel pacing the deck of a luxury yacht. His shirt clung to him, soaked. His hair was wet. And on the floor lay Elaine, her eyes closed, her lips blue, her chest still. Daniel claimed she slipped while leaning over the rail, that she fell in, that by the time he got to her, she wasn't breathing. They tried CPR. Nothing worked. Elaine Whitmore was pronounced dead at sea. Just like that, a honeymoon turned into a crime scene. The official cause of death: drowning. The official ruling: accidental. But within hours, whispers began to spread. Because witnesses had seen something Daniel didn't mention. One couple sailing nearby said Elaine wasn't flailing when she was in the water. She wasn't thrashing. She wasn't fighting. She looked almost still, like she'd been floating there long before anyone tried to pull her out. And then came the second witness, a man on a jet ski. He swore he saw Daniel pushing her down, not pulling her up. His statement didn't make it into the report. Too little evidence, too easy to dismiss, but investigators flagged it. Because it didn't line up. If Elaine slipped, why didn't her body show signs of panic? Why did the witnesses' stories clash so sharply with Daniel's? Daniel told the Coast Guard the same thing again and again. She just slipped. But the story didn't fit. When Elaine's will was read, Daniel walked in expecting everything. After all, he was the husband. But Elaine had planned differently. Most of her fortune, her mansion, her accounts, even her prized Lamborghini Aventador, wasn't going to Daniel. It was going to her grandson, Jason Whitmore. Jason was only 18, a college freshman. And now, suddenly, the heir to millions. Daniel sat frozen as the lawyer read the papers. Then his face changed. Witnesses said he clenched his jaw so hard it looked like it might break. Minutes later, he stormed out. 1 week after Elaine drowned, Jason was spotted in Miami, driving the bright yellow Lamborghini his grandmother adored. It turned heads immediately. That car was a symbol of Elaine. And now, just days after her funeral, her teenage grandson was behind the wheel. Jason claimed Elaine gave him the keys before she left for the honeymoon, that she told him to enjoy himself. But a valet at her Palm Beach condo told investigators otherwise. He swore Daniel had picked up the car the morning after Elaine's death. So how did Jason get it? Why was he suddenly in Miami, laughing with friends, racing down Collins Avenue like nothing happened? The questions started piling up. Detectives realized this wasn't a simple case. On one side was Daniel, the much younger husband, who had just lost his wife and gained almost nothing. On the other was Jason, the teenage heir who inherited nearly everything. Was Daniel furious enough to kill Elaine? Or was Jason involved in ways no one could yet see? Jason claimed Daniel had manipulated Elaine, that he had warned her not to marry him. Daniel claimed Jason was spoiled, that the boy had poisoned everyone against him. But then detectives noticed something far stranger. Elaine had transferred $250,000 to Jason's account days before her honeymoon. Jason said it was for college tuition, but in the same week, Daniel withdrew $60,000 in cash from his own account. Money he couldn't explain. The transaction seemed unrelated, but investigators weren't so sure. Why move money right before a honeymoon? Why empty accounts in such a suspicious way? The trail hinted at something deeper, something coordinated, and then came the video. Surveillance footage from the marina surfaced. It showed Elaine stepping onto the yacht, Daniel close behind. But there was a third figure, slim, young, curly hair. Jason, the grandson. The boy who told investigators he wasn't there. The one who swore he hadn't seen Elaine since before the wedding. The video proved he lied. He had been on that yacht on the day Elaine drowned. Detectives confronted Jason. He said the video was misleading, that it wasn't him, but the timestamp matched. The frame was clear enough. Daniel smirked when shown the video. "Maybe ask the boy where he was," he said. Why had Jason lied? Why deny being on the boat at all? And why was he driving the Lamborghini days later? Every answer only led to more questions. Here's what we know. Elaine Whitmore drowned on her honeymoon under suspicious circumstances. Her husband Daniel gave conflicting statements. Her grandson Jason lied about being on the yacht. One man was furious he inherited nothing. One boy suddenly had everything. Both had motive. Both had opportunity. But the truth, still hidden in the shadows. Because weeks later, Elaine's private journal was found in her Palm Beach home. And the final entry stopped investigators cold. It read, "If anything happens to me, don't trust either of them." The screen goes black. The music drops, and the voice whispers. This was only the beginning. Investigators sat in silence. The words were underlined, scrawled in shaky pen strokes. "If anything happens to me, don't trust either of them." Elaine Whitmore's last journal entry, a warning written days before her death. Neither of them, her husband, Daniel, or her grandson, Jason. The two men at the center of everything. The one who lost everything. The one who gained it all. The case had just blown wide open. The FBI divided their team. Half focused on Daniel Cole, the other half on Jason Whitmore. Daniel, the charming 36-year-old widower, claimed innocence. But his story had holes. His timeline didn't add up. Jason, the 18-year-old heir, denied being on the yacht. But video showed him boarding with Elaine. Both were lying. The only question was, why? Elaine's autopsy was reviewed again. Drowning was still the official cause. But there were inconsistencies. Small bruises around her wrists, faint markings on her neck, signs that didn't fit a simple slip. And then, something worse. Toxicology showed traces of a sedative, not strong enough to kill, but strong enough to make someone slow. Elaine hadn't just fallen, she'd been drugged. Jason told police he was in Miami with friends, but his phone records told a different story. At 3:15 p.m., the day Elaine drowned, his phone pinged near the marina. At 4:02 p.m., it went dark, switched off, and when it came back online hours later, it pinged in Palm Beach. Impossible travel, unless he had help. The Lamborghini resurfaced in the investigation. Detectives found something hidden in the glove box. A spare yacht key, engraved with the rental company's initials. Jason swore he'd never seen it. Daniel claimed the company gave him 2 copies, but the company insisted, number, only one was ever issued. So how did a second key end up in Elaine's car? Detectives pulled security footage from the Palm Beach mansion. One clip made everyone's blood run cold. 2 days before the wedding, Jason and Daniel were seen together, in the garage, talking for almost 30 minutes. The audio was muted, but the body language was clear. Jason leaned in, Daniel gestured wildly. And then, Jason handed him an envelope. The 2 men weren't enemies, at least not then. They had been working together. The envelope was traced, bank slips. Jason had withdrawn $50,000 in cash that week. Daniel's own account showed a similar cash withdrawal. Both men moved large sums. Right before the honeymoon, the theory shattered. It wasn't a battle between them. It was a partnership. But for what? The deeper detectives dug, the stranger it got. Emails surfaced between Jason and Daniel, hidden on burner accounts. They spoke about timelines, about clean exits, about the transfer. It looked like they planned Elaine's death together. But here's the twist. The last message Daniel sent Jason read only 4 words. "You double-crossed me." Under pressure, Daniel cracked. He admitted meeting Jason before the honeymoon, admitted they had an arrangement. But he swore Jason was the mastermind, that Jason promised him money, that Jason convinced him Elaine had to go. Daniel claimed he went along, until Jason betrayed him, until Jason made sure Daniel got nothing. It was now a war between co-conspirators. Detectives checked Jason's movements after the drowning. Cameras placed him at a Miami hotel, checking in under a fake name, and he wasn't alone. Beside him was a woman, mid-30s, dark hair. Her name, Angela Ruiz, a name that had never once appeared in the investigation. Angela was traced to a condo in downtown Miami. When FBI agents raided it, they found more than they bargained for. Stacks of cash, a burner laptop, and photos of Elaine. Photos marked with dates and times, like someone had been tracking her every move. Angela was no random girlfriend. She was part of the plan, and she was gone. One night, Daniel called investigators from jail. He whispered into the phone, "You don't get it. Jason didn't betray me. Angela did." He explained that Angela was supposed to clean up, to make sure Jason and Daniel walked away safe. But instead, she vanished. With the money, with the leverage, leaving both men exposed. Then came the biggest shock. Fingerprints lifted from Elaine's diary. They didn't just belong to Elaine, or Daniel, or Jason. They belonged to Angela Ruiz. The mysterious woman had touched the journal, the same journal warning Elaine's death was coming. Angela wasn't just an accomplice. She had been in Elaine's home before the wedding. She had been planning this for weeks. Jason vanished next. 2 weeks after being named a suspect, he disappeared. His Lamborghini was found abandoned in Orlando. No fingerprints, no trace of him. And Daniel? He sat in jail, broken, swearing he was set up. The FBI's focus shifted. This wasn't just a family betrayal anymore. It was a web, bigger than anyone expected. Elaine's death looked simple, a drowning on a honeymoon. But now, it was layered with lies, secret deals, betrayals, and a woman no one could find. And in a leaked FBI memo, one chilling line stood out. Angela Ruiz is not who she claims to be. She has ties to at least 3 other unexplained deaths. And if she's still out there, she won't stop. This case wasn't about love. It wasn't even about money. It was about power. And the most dangerous player hasn't even been caught yet. Her name was Angela Ruiz. She had been a ghost in this story, a woman no one noticed, until it was too late. Elaine's diary carried her fingerprints, the same diary warning, "Don't trust either of them." Angela had been in Elaine's house, before the wedding, before the honeymoon. The FBI knew now. Elaine hadn't been paranoid. She had been hunted, and Angela was the hunter. Jason Whitmore, Elaine's 18-year-old heir, vanished. His Lamborghini found abandoned in Orlando. Doors unlocked, keys still inside. But his wallet, phone, and backpack, gone. Surveillance showed him leaving with a woman. Dark hair, mid-30s, Angela Ruiz. Jason wasn't missing. He was with her. Willingly or not. Daniel Cole sat in jail. The widower. The man who once had everything to gain. Now he had nothing. But when investigators told him Jason was with Angela, his face changed. Not shock, recognition. "She played us both," he whispered. "She made us believe we were in control." But Angela controlled everything. He leaned forward, his voice low. "You don't understand. Angela isn't after money. She's after legacy. And Jason, he's the key." The room went cold. In Angela's condo, agents found more. 3 folders, each labeled with names, each tied to unexplained deaths. One folder held Elaine's photo, one held Jason's, and one was empty. A blank file, waiting. Financial records traced Angela to offshore accounts. She had moved money for years, bribes, shell companies, hidden transfers. The sedative in Elaine's system, purchased under Angela's alias. The forged DNA test, paid for through Angela's accounts. Every loose end pointed back to her. But the motive wasn't greed. it was control. Angela had targeted wealthy families before, slipped in through charm, through romance, through heirs too young to understand the trap. Elaine was just the latest. After weeks of searching, a tip came from Atlanta, a motel, room 208. Surveillance caught Angela walking in. Jason followed. No struggle, no hesitation. FBI agents moved in. The room was empty. Only a spray-painted word on the wall. Chosen. 2 days later, Jason appeared at a police station in Savannah. Alone. Exhausted. He told agents Angela had convinced him Elaine wanted to cut him out. That Daniel planned to frame him. That Angela was the only one protecting him. She said family is blood. But legacy, that's power. He admitted helping Angela drug Elaine. Admitted watching as she drowned. He claimed Angela forced him. But the tremor in his voice suggested otherwise. When Jason's statement hit the news, Daniel's fate was sealed. He had lied too often, played too many sides. He was sentenced to 25 years for conspiracy and fraud. Not murder, but enough to bury him behind bars. Still, as marshals led him away, Daniel shouted one thing. "You'll never find her. She'll never stop. She'll come for him again." Months later, a package arrived at FBI headquarters. No return address. Inside, a single photo. Jason, smiling, standing beside Angela. The picture was recent. The background, unknown. On the back of the photo, 2 words were written in red ink. Family business. Angela Ruiz has never been caught. Jason Whitmore vanished again. Some believe he was kidnapped. Others believe he chose her. But the truth may never be known. Because the last words Marcus Johnson whispered in that interrogation room, the sheriff whose own case had been tangled in betrayal, echo here too. He's still out there, and he's coming back for the others. The screen fades. The voice lowers. This isn't just a crime story, it's a warning.